Now blackberries have two types of canes each year. Now here's one over here. This would be a good teaching example. Now, same thing as in the blueberries. These laterals like this are where the fruit is going to be produced on these laterals. And so this is a prima cane this year, and next year it's a flowering cane.
Okay.
So what we do is we have them headed back about 5 feet above the ground, and then these laterals are all cut off to condense the fruit into these laterals. Now here's a big long lateral. This is a prima cane, but it has no laterals.
Okay, so it's still
and
young.
So if managing these bad boys, you can picture if we've got two wires, we string these up in a fan shape, and then next year all of these canes like this. Now since this doesn't have any laterals, the best thing to do is cut it off, and then that top bud being gone will stimulate lateral development from the rest of these.
Okay.
Here's another cane coming up right here that has one lateral down here, but if we force it, that is called the principle of apical dominance. Apical dominance in some plants, if you take that top bud off, it has a hormone redistribution and it causes the other side buds to break out and then grow. Now look, here's a case where the main cane has died back, right here. Main cane is gone, and this is a lateral. Since the main cane is gone, this lateral is taken over as the main cane, right there.
Okay.
So we'll leave that. We've topped it, and we'll leave it.
Sort of like a leader on a tree.
Exactly. It's exactly the same principle. And so here's an example where we've got a cane, and see, this is a lateral off of this cane. See right here?
Okay, yeah, right.
Right there. And so what we'll do is we'll take that lateral and cut it back, and I'm going to top this cane to help it maybe produce some more laterals on it. Here's a cane where the top is died, and there's just a lateral. And so what I would do is, if we had this all laid out correctly, I would just string that one up, that lateral, and hope that it was able to do something next year. This is a beautiful, beautiful cane. This is what we want these things to look like. And by cutting these back the way we did, instead of getting small fruit all the way down along the length of it, we get big fruit located right here at the cane.
Yeah.
Like that. And if we had some fencing up, see, this is a lateral right there.
Yeah.
And if we had some fencing up,
That's also the lateral.
all this could be tied up, and next year the fruit is going to be on this cane and this cane, unless this makes some more this year. The fruit is always on those laterals. Here,
What a crop of
blackberries, you can manage them in several ways. You can do like this and just let them go, then get what you get. But if you take a little bit of time and can get them strung out, like if we put a post in here and a post back there, we'll run 2 wires, then we can get these bad boys shaped up in a fan shape, like that.
Is that what they call espalier?
Espalier. Very, very
I don't know
similar.
exactly how you pronounce them, but that's...
The only difference is espalier is in 2
espalier.
dimensions.
Okay.
All right. This is
And
in 4.
topiary is in 3 dimensions.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like a ballet word.
All right, so it's kind of hard to know what to do. So here's the methodology. Here I see a cane or something growing, so I just grab it and I look for where it's coming out of the plant. This is actually a lateral coming off of this cane.
Oh.
So if it's coming out
But
of the
it looks
ground,
so
it's primary or
healthy. It
whatever.
look like
The main stem is the cane,
Uh-huh.
and where they're coming off the side is a lateral. But here's a case where we don't have much on the plant, so I can take that lateral and cut it, and sometimes the lateral will make
Really
laterals.
Okay.
Now here's another primocane this year that has a lateral. We'll
Right.
cut that off, and then we'll top it.
Okay.
And here's another cane like this that has some laterals on it. So we'll cut these laterals back like that,
Uh-huh.
and maybe it'll have time to produce a few more.
Okay.
So you can see all of them are coming out of the crown,
Right,
which
yeah.
is down at the ground. And as they come out of the crown, we can have them fanning out like this, as we have wires up here and a wire down here. You can tie them up. As soon as one gets up to about that high, you get it wired onto something and top it. And then if there's too much nitrogen, you'll get laterals coming off of the laterals like crazy, and you have to keep cutting them back. Here's another cane. So we go, well, what do I do? What do I do? All right, well, let's
Excuse
take a
me.
look at the entire thing. Here is this cane growing up here. Here's the main cane coming out of the ground. These are laterals. And so here's a lateral, here's a lateral, here's a lateral. And what I'm going to do is top it. And if you can see that if we had some wires coming up, we could have that wired up to it. And next year, that's where all the fruit's going to be. Here's another cane right here.
Cullen, is this the best time of year to do the trimming?
Yeah, after it fruits.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a little bit late.
Oh, earlier than we did. Okay.
Earlier.
Midsummer sort of?
Well, the plant will tell you when it wants what. When you get a cane up my height, and say it's wired on, you can go ahead and top it. You get 5.5 feet, 5 feet, or something like that. Then as the laterals grow, and what I used to do is about every 2 or 3 weeks, I would walk through the berries, and I would see where new canes had come out and cut those back and whatnot. This is a nice cane right here. Now here's another, what we call primocane this year, and we can see this is a lateral, so we'll cut that off. And here it is growing on up here, so we'll cut it off at about 5 feet, and hopefully by the end of the season, we'll get more of these laterals that come out like that.
So
And
it's sort of a process. It's not a one-time deal.
yeah, you've got to kind of keep at it.
Is this similar to raspberries then?
Yes, they're both rubus species, R-H-U-B-U-S. These thornless blackberries have round canes. In the wild, blackberries have angular canes. And raspberries have round canes in the wild. One way you can tell them apart. But they all have thorns in the wild. So you can manage raspberries the same way. You've got a major cane, and you can cut it off. Once it gets up over 5 feet, cut it off. And then that causes these guys, these laterals right here, to be able to grow out. And then you would want what
Okay.
you've done, if you've
No
got
worries.
the berries at the end of the cane, that cane is actually a lateral.
Oh.
That's not the primary cane.
Okay.
That's not the main cane, that's actually a lateral.
Okay.
And you see you've got and it had a lot of little berries on the end, didn't it? If you cut that lateral off and bring it down in here, you'll have fewer but much larger high quality berries in here. And the plant will still make the same biomass as it would as if you had a lot of little ones. It's the principle of thinning. Remember, when we thin, we can have a whole lot of little ones, or a medium amount of medium ones, or a small amount of real large ones. So remember that the main thing to take home from this is that we have 2 types of canes each year. These canes that are primocanes this year are the flowering canes for next year. And it will send up new little shoots. See, this is 1 year's growth, and so it'll send up new shoots that will be managed as primocanes next year for the following year's flowers. So you've got this year's flowering, then you got next year's flowering, but in between you've got all of these other little things coming up that you've got to manage.